session for putting out the fires of online teaching. And today, this session is one that I know that many of you are really going to enjoy, because not only is it addressing some of the needs that many of you are facing in terms of just online teaching or hybrid teaching in general, but as we start to think about curation of resources and how to be better organized and how to present and how to collaborate, not just as educators, but also the skills for our students, there is a tool that does all those things and more. And it's not an overcomplicated tool. It's a very powerful tool. And it's just, I think, one for you to, with this session, to explore. I'm encouraging you as you're watching this, on demand, you can pause and apply as we go through. You're going to have application time afterwards. And so really just taking a look at how this tool, we're talking about Wakelet here today, can really help you and your needs and the needs of your students as well. So before we dive into that, let's go ahead and introduce our guest here. So you want to introduce who you are and what you do for Wakelet and all that good stuff, and then we can dive into all the exciting fun for today.
Sure thing. Thank you so much for having me, Aaron. I really appreciate it. So my name is Misbah. I officially lead partnerships at Wakelet, but I do wear a lot of hats. There's many different things which I get involved in. In terms of my roles in everyday business, my favorite thing is really engaging with educators and speaking with them and kind of being a part of this incredible community. Wakelet's really it's kind of come into its own in terms of the education community, probably in the last 2 years, I'd say. Prior to that, we were mainly focused on, industry, business, organizations, sports clubs, that type of thing. And they're still using Wakelet, but the educator community discovered us around 2 years ago, and it's just been incredible since then. So I'm really honored to be here with you today and kind of share Wakelet in those three things which you mentioned before, which I think a lot of teachers are need a little bit of help with, especially now, the organization of their resources, their learning materials, and then the presentation of them, and then of course the collaboration piece as well. So I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, and I've been using Wakelet. I was just pulling up my page so I can follow along with the learning today, because I know I'm going to learn some stuff. And I think I've got 73 collections, so I know I've been
Nice.
using it, and probably need to do some organization myself. And so yeah, so let's just jump into the fun. I'm passing the baton over to you. I will be your pseudo student for today, but anybody watching along, obviously you can pause and follow and do the work along with us. And we look forward to get some feedback. But it's your show. It's off to the races with you, and let's have some fun here.
Fantastic. Okay, awesome. Well, I guess what I'll do is I'll share my screen in just a moment. But one of the things which I want to emphasize is that there are a lot of different tech platforms that are available out there. And I think that some teachers can feel a little bit overwhelmed because they have to kind of pick up and learn a new one every 6 months. We've really made it at our core to be as easy as possible. And we also have designed the platform so that it integrates with a lot of the other platforms that you're using right now. That being said, we know that it's overload, right? So if there's an element of what I'm about to show you that doesn't apply to you, then don't feel like you're obliged to have to use a Wakelet. We know that it's another platform that you have to bring in, and all we try and do is say, look, this is how we can help, and if it works, then sure, make an account and give it a try. Another thing as well, which I always say, is that a lot of the time, a lot of educators tend to kind of see tools being used and then just kind of jump on them and say, okay, how can I use this? I would say that with Wakelet, work backwards, right? So start with the problem that you have, start with the thing that you're trying to improve, whether it's your organization, the engagement of your students, creative assignments, that type of thing, and then work backwards and see if Wakelet can help. Now, usually it can, but I always say start small and have fun, right? Like, you don't have to jump into, I'm going to show you some examples today. You don't have to jump into all these examples at once. Have fun with the platform, like create a collection on your favorite recipes if you want. With 74 collections like Aaron has, you can get a little bit carried away. But generally, the way that most people learn about Wakelet, most people learn to use Wakelet, is by doing something that's fun and that's small, like for them. So recipes, places that you want to visit, things that you want to accomplish this year, and that kind of thing. So what we usually do here is we kind of share a few slides from a presentation that we've created. And I'm just going to go through them very quickly because I know that we're short on time. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but needless to say, it is very, very easy to use. And most importantly, which I think is, most important for educators, is completely free to use as well. So when we say free, we mean completely free and unlimited. There's no like free trial or, use up to a certain time and then you've got to, no, it's just completely free to use. So a lot of educators seem to put a smile on their face when you hear this, and hopefully that's what you're doing right now.
Yep.
But I'm going to share my screen with you, Aaron, and I'm going to probably say the immortal words that we all say nowadays. Can you see my screen?
We can see the screen.
Fantastic.
You just can't
Okay.
escape it. It's an impossible escape. You have to do it.
You have to say it. You have to say it. I right now, whenever we do webinars with the team, I tend to just prank them and just be like, I can't see anything. Sorry. And they're like, no, you can. I'm like, well, why ask them? It's
Right,
rigged.
right.
um, So let's jump into like the quickest kind of, I'd say the coffee room kind of like water cooler type way that you describe Wakelet, right? So it's a free platform and it allows you and your students to save, organize, present, and share content from across the web. Now, we're going to try and explain it in 3 steps for you here. So the first step is save anything, okay? This is the beauty of Wakelet. It's really versatile. Any piece of content that you find on the web, whether it's a podcast or a tweet or an Instagram post or a Flipgrid video or anything that has a URL, you can save it into Wakelet. And when you save it into Wakelet, you can do some amazing things with it. The point here is that you probably experience you've probably had it a lot of times where you've had so many different resources coming at you from so many different areas. So like an article on Medium, a tweet that you've seen, an Instagram post, somebody sent you a PDF, whatever it might be. Wakelet allows you to save all of this in one place. Now, the second step is curating and presenting, okay? So once you've got all of that content, once you have all this mixed multimedia content, what can you do with it? Well, you create Wakelet collections, okay? And you organize these pieces of content in a way that really makes sense to you. And then you add your own images, you add your own text, you can textualize it. You can even add Flipgrid videos as well. Curate and then present. One of the things that you'll see when I share a few examples with you is that Wakelet is really, really beautiful. The founder of Wakelet, Jamil, is super obsessed with design, really wants things to be absolutely perfect. So Wakelet looks gorgeous. That's one of the things which a lot of educators say. Some of the tools which educators are using, not so much on the fancy side, not great when it comes to design. Well, we've made it really easy to use and really beautiful as well to look at, visually engaging. And then the third step is collaborate and share, right? So we know that right now, especially now, collaboration is key, right? Some teachers are working remotely, some have students back at school, some are doing like a blended learning type thing. Well, Wakelet allows you to collaborate with your students. So you can create spaces within Wakelet, these kind of private spaces where you can collaborate with your students. They can create their own collections. You can go and look at them. It's real time as well, which is amazing. You can create let's say a class lesson whereby the students are all collaborating on the same Wakelet collection. They can all see who's adding what. They can see this collection evolve, and it's a really nice experience. And then share. So everything that you create on Wakelet, you can share it as well. We've made it super easy to share Wakelet across so many different types of platforms in so many different ways, because sharing is probably the most important part. So again, like I mentioned before, Wakelet integrates with a lot. So things like Flipgrid, all of the Microsoft products, Google Classrooms, you name it. Wakelet integrates with it, whether it's a sharing capability or whether it's actually being able to embed that piece of content into a Wakelet collection. Key features, as I mentioned before, I'll just rush over this. You've got collaboration, copy collections. You can actually create collections which are like templates for students to copy and then edit and make their own. We've got Immersive Reader built into Wakelet as well. That's baked in. Immersive Reader is incredible. I'm sure those of you who know it already are super happy at that. Those of you who don't know what Immersive Reader is, it's basically a tool created by Microsoft that really bridges the gap, and it allows your content to be super accessible and really inclusive. So across 70 different languages, some amazing grammar and comprehension options. If I remember, I'll show you when we go through some examples. And then lastly, embed as well. So any collection that you create, whether it's a bunch of resources, whether it's a lesson plan, no matter what it might be, you can embed that collection into your website, your blog, and most importantly, your LMS platform as well. So many different ways teachers are using Wakelet. Honestly, if I was to sit and explain the hundreds of thousands of different ways people are using it, I'd be here for a pretty long time. I know you can attest to this, Aaron. Very, very versatile, so many different ways. Makes it a problem sometimes for us when it comes to promoting it because we don't know which ones to choose. That's why I said at the beginning, start with the issue that you have or the thing that you're trying to improve and then work backwards, and most likely Wakelet will be able to help. But things like newsletters, professional development, interactive lesson plans, group research, lesson planning, that type of thing. And obviously students can use Wakelet as well. So 13s and over can create their own Wakelet account and they can start creating amazing looking collections. And then students who are under 13 years old can use our collaboration feature. So you can share with them a unique code that they then put into the website. They don't have to enter any credentials. They don't have to log in or sign up or have an email address. But it's just that unique code that they need. And then they can start actually contributing to collections themselves. Imagine how awesome this is when it comes to things like assignments and group research, group projects, that type of thing. And obviously we've got librarians, tech coaches using Wakelet for sharing resources. And yeah, this is really the 4 different things which Wakelet can be used for. So curating resources, lesson planning, student assignments, classroom newsletters, a whole bunch of other stuff as well. And we've got an amazing community program as well. So a student ambassador program. Our community program has got 3 tiers: a community member, a community leader, and an ambassador. So it's like a whole community, right? I'm probably not doing it justice right now, but I'm sure you know, Aaron, the Wakelet community is incredible. You know, it's over 80 different countries, so much going on, community webinars, and it's quite interesting as well. Aaron, obviously you reached out to me, you're like, you know, the teachers which I'm working with, it's a pretty stressful time right now. Definitely check out the webinars that we do on Thursdays. We do community webinars, nothing to do with Wakelet. It's all about mindfulness, inclusivity, remote learning, really cool subjects, and we bring in some amazing people to talk about this. Okay, that's the presentation bit. Boring bit's done now. I'm going to jump into the actual magic. I was rushing through that a little bit, Aaron. I don't like reading off a sheet, but we'll jump into. I'm gonna show you now what Wakelet looks like and how easy it is to actually create your first collection. Okay, so after you've signed up to Wakelet and logged in, again, like I said, it's free to use, unlimited collections, unlimited everything. You'll be in your home area. Now, your home area is going to be completely empty. There's going to be nothing in it. Right now, I've got all my collections here, and it's going to prompt you to create your first collection. This is a really good way of getting an idea of how Wakelet can help. Right? So let's put myself in the shoes of a teacher who is doing like an introduction to climate change for their students, right? So I would create a new collection. I just click this button. And what we've done is we've given you like the skeleton, right? So this is like a blank canvas, and we've added a little bit of structure to help you make it easy to make your collections look gorgeous. So I'm going to say here, introduction to climate change. I'm going to give my collection a description. So I can say, check out these resources. Now in this area, you can add instructions, you can add, anything that you want here on any subject. And as you can see, we actually have autosave as well. So we don't like people losing their work. We know that's quite stressful. Well, your changes save automatically with every little edit you make. So super useful. Now, this part's really important. So making your collection look engaging, make it look like a web page. You can add a cover image to your collection. So you can either upload an image from your library, upload an image from your computer, or you can choose one from a library that we have. So we've partnered with Unsplash, and we've managed to get hold of these incredible copyright, royalty-free images. They're all beautiful, they're all high definition. And if I search something in here, I will get all of these really beautiful images that I can actually use for my collection. Now, students love this because it takes that kind of grind away from having to go onto, Google search and go on images and try and find one in the right dimensions and all that kind of thing. It's all baked in right here. So it's basically an image search engine within here. So I'm just going to choose this one here, a little protest image. And I can choose to have it like full cover image, but I always go for half cover image just because it's neater. And I can also go in the background, click this little gear up here, and I can change it. I can add a background image as well. So I'm just going to search for sky. Just put this one here. And now my collection is starting to take shape. So this is the really cool part now. This is what Wakelet is all about. It all starts with this plus button here. When I click this plus button, it gives me a whole range of options of content which I can add to this collection. Now, the most popular is just the one which I'm on right now, which is the default. This allows you to copy and paste any link across the web from the web into this collection. But you can also add text. You can search YouTube directly. You can connect your account to Twitter and then be able to just search tweets. So if I click tweets here and I search Wakelet, I can just go ahead and add any tweets that I want. I can search hashtags or anything like that. Just click add. Let's go back to the plus button. I can add bookmarks. Now, bookmarks are just anything that you've added to Wakelet. It's not like your bookmarks is in the bookmarks of your browser. It's anything that you've added to Wakelet. I can also upload images and PDFs, and I can add files from Google Drive and OneDrive. And this is really cool as well. I can actually add Flipgrid videos. So if I click this button here, it won't work because I'm using my camera currently to actually have this Zoom call. But your camera pops up. You link your Flipgrid account, and then you can literally just record 10 minutes of video directly into the Wakelet collection without ever leaving the collection. Now, educators love this because it gives them a chance to communicate directly with the class and also kind of contextualize the content that they've actually put into this collection. However, I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste some content into this. I'll show you how easy it is, right? So let's say I've done a Google search for climate change and I found a bunch of resources that I want my students to take a look at. So it's very simple. I just copy the link to the article and I just paste it right into Wakelet. And this is magic. Wakelet very quickly takes the information, adds an image that's from the website, and makes that single link, that single URL look way more clickable, way more engaging. And this is a really cool part. I can click edit, and I can actually change this to, read this first. I can change the description to, before the assignment, read this, something like that. Sorry, I have to autocorrect that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I can't leave it. So yeah, and then just click done. So, you're adding context, you're adding instruction to that content, which is really, really useful.
Yeah, and I think to interject here too, sorry to mess up your presentation, but I think, as I'm working with educators, this is a vital piece. I think for a lot of people getting started with Wakelet, they input the hyperlink and there it is, and then it just kind of feels like a collection. And what you're showing here, if you're an educator thinking about this for the first time, is yes, it's a collection, but it can be so much more. And you can start to see then how you can scaffold and make the collection unique to your teaching needs for what you're doing in the classroom. So it's simple. It's an easy way to do it, but as you're watching through this, be thinking about the applications to your classroom, because what you just did right here all of a sudden takes it from, yeah, it's just a hyperlink, to, okay, as a student, I got to do this first. Like, so as we're going through this, and I know you'll probably get into a lot of this, and I apologize for interjecting, but I just think it's so important for a lot of teachers that are new to Wakelet to be thinking about it's so much more than just a collection, because I think that's where a lot of people who are maybe on the fence with it, that's how they see it. And you have to, think about how to make it unique to your learning environment. So sorry to interrupt. I had to put my 2 cents in there. So
No. Please, honestly, go ahead. Like, we're not educators at Wakelet, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So,
That's right.
There's only a certain way that we can start talking. We kind of keep it really simple, but it's great to have somebody who's who's from an educational background to actually interject and be like, hey, here's an idea. So yeah, no, 100%. Like what you said, there's a big difference between just like a link dump and a carefully curated collection, which has the most important thing, which is context, which is what you just said.
Yeah.
And then that it just goes on. Like I can go ahead and I can get this tweet here, for example. I can copy it and I can paste it in. So what I'm doing is I'm finding content which is super engaging, that isn't just like text, it's multimedia, and I'm just building this collection. So I can grab a link off YouTube, a video, go back to Wakelet, paste it in, and a video is going to play and look like a video. A tweet is going to behave and look like a tweet. It's all about keeping the students in one place so that they don't go down the rabbit hole. So we've made sure that everything kind of just stays there, right? And then the really cool part, as you said before, Aaron, is like adding structure. So I can click add text, and I can, I've got this nice rich text editor here. I can say, this is, the first task or something like that. I can make this a header, a little bit small, it's too big that. And then I can, add another piece of text down here that says, this is the second task. I can also like hyperlink as well. I can actually hyperlink links within this. So let's say the opposite, where you don't want the link to attract too much attention to content, you can hyperlink it into a description as well, which is really cool. And that's it, right? It's as simple as that. Now I could add in a Buncee, I could add in like a Genially, I could add in a presentation, but you get the idea. Anything that has a URL, add it to Wakelet. Most of the time, it's going to be embedded in there, so you don't have to leave the site to check it out. I can also change layouts, right? So right now I'm in media view, which allows like the actual content to be displayed almost like a story. But I can change this layout and make it like compact view, which is more just links. I can change it to grid view. This is really good for making comparisons, being able to have like a piece of text and then the content there. And then a really popular one is mood board as well. This is kind of used more for like things which don't require too much structure. So like students who are contributing to a collection with their thoughts or their, playlists or their submissions. It's almost like it's a mood board, right? It's like an idea board, a brainstorm. And I really love moving these around as well. It's like super smooth. It's really, really satisfying to do. So that's it. That's as simple as it is, right? Create a Wakelet collection, add some content, boom, you're done. If you're ever going to use Wakelet for the first time, I'd suggest to just do this. And you can create a collection on anything you want and use any kind of content that you'd like to as well. So this is really important. There are 3 different permission levels, visibility levels on Wakelet. If you go to the top right hand here, every collection that you create by default is private, which means that only you can. If I make this unlisted, then it means that I can share it with a unique link and only people with the link can see it. And if I make it public, that means that everyone can see it and it appears on my profile as well. I'll show you the profiles in just a moment. I'm going to make this unlisted and I'm going to hit the done button. And now I'm going to show you how easy it is to share a collection. You just click this share button and look at all these ways. You've got a QR code. So let's say most basic, I'm in front of the class giving a presentation. I want them to use their devices to check out that particular collection. Boom, QR code, really easy to do. I can also print QR codes off and pass them along with sheets for homework and things like that. So the students, when they see a QR code, what they're going to do, they're going to scan it, and then you're kind of tricking them, right? Because it's a fun thing to do, and then they're going to go straight to a collection which is filled with amazing resources that they can learn from. Another way to share is Microsoft Teams, Google Classroom, obviously, that's a big one. And then you've got Twitter, you've got Remind, but honestly, the most popular way of sharing it is just like a link. This link right here, you just click copy, paste it onto whatever LMS platform you're using, whatever means of communication you're using. And when I go in incognito here, remember that to view a Wakelet collection, nobody needs an account. You do not need a Wakelet account to view a public or enlisted Wakelet collection. It's essentially the same as a web page. So if I'm a student and I've received this collection, this is what it looks like right here. It loads up. I can scroll down. I can play videos. Global climate. I can watch tweets. I can actually visit this without actually going off the page as well. We have this awesome thing called read mode that scrapes all of the text from the particular site and has it all in a really easy to read place.
Yeah, and in there too, right there, would that be a good point to just to quickly click on that immersive reader? Because I think a lot of
Yes, good
people,
point. Yeah.
because this is really helpful. I'm thinking especially for hybrid or virtual teaching where a student may not have maybe all the supports and resources that would naturally be in a face-to-face classroom. The immersive reader is an invaluable tool, regardless of, even if you're a Google school, in this case, if you're using Wakelet, it's going to work out wonders for you. And it's more than just languages. And so, yeah, if you could just click that, because I think a lot of people, if they're new to Wakelet, either they're probably also not aware of Immersive Reader, just to
100%,
show
yeah.
you how that works through that beta, which is really nice.
Yeah. I love talking about Immersive Reader just because it is genuinely so helpful. So anytime that you'll see text like this, you'll find this little icon here. I'll zoom into it. Give me a second. This here is the Immersive Reader icon. Whenever you see that on Wakelet, it means you can open up Immersive Reader, right? So you can do it on descriptions, but also in articles, you can click read mode. It pulls up the text. Now Wakelet does this. However, like you said, there's an Immersive Reader button at the top. So let's just say, like Aaron mentioned, I'm a student who requires a little bit more support, or maybe English isn't my first language. Maybe I'm a parent who's been sent a newsletter on Wakelet from my teachers, from my son or daughter's teachers, and English isn't my first language. This is really useful. So first of all, it adds clarity. It just makes the text really easy to read. And then it gives you three different sets of options. So here in text preferences, I can make the text smaller or bigger. I can increase or decrease the spacing. I can change the font, and I can add different color themes as well. And here on grammar options, I can add syllables. I can highlight nouns, verbs, adjectives. So, this becomes very useful with grammar comprehension skills, that type of thing. The really cool part is that I can click on any one of these words and I will get a visual representation of the word. I'll be able to listen to that word said out. And then up here in reading preferences, I can choose out of 70 different languages. Let's pick Croatian, click document, and that really accurately translates that whole piece of text into that particular language. Very good, like you mentioned, for inclusivity, accessibility, really good for students who English may not be their first language, but forget the translation stuff, all of the other features by themselves, they just bridge that gap. And I can even press play here, and that will read out loud. So that's Immersive Reader, and you don't have to switch it on or off on Wakelet. It comes as standard. It's part of our accessibility inclusivity features. So yeah, big shout out to Microsoft for working with us to get that put onto Wakelet. It's really incredible. So that's what I was showing you. This is what a collection looks like for somebody who's viewing it for the first time, who doesn't have a Wakelet account, so on and so forth. And in terms of embedding, I just click the embed button, and I can also export this as a PDF. Now, let's say I want to invite students to add their own thoughts and their own ideas. I click the invite button, and they can either scan this QR code, or they can just click on the link if I share that. They can also use this copy code as well. So I'll show you how easy this is. 6 or 7 digit code. I'm going to go back into incognito window and go to wakelet.com. And you'll find I don't click login, I don't click sign up, I click enter code. I type that code in, click join, and now as a student, I can enter a name or a nickname, click add, and now I'm in this collection and I can start adding my own content as well. So you can tell your students, you can have a class assignment and say, I'd like you all to go away and do some research. And you can give them like challenges, like it has to be on page 15, or it has to be between the times of 2011 and 28, whatever it might be. I just go in, edit collection, and I can add my own content. So just for sake of time, I'm going to add Google, but this can be any piece of content. I click done. This all happens in real time as well. So when you're in the edit state, all of you collaborating together, it will appear in real time. It will literally say like type something, which is really useful. I go back to this collection, I hit refresh. This collection will have been updated with those changes or those submissions that students have made. Now, don't worry, students cannot edit or change anybody else's submission. They can't change the description or the text, and they can't delete anybody else's just for that. So that is how you invite people to actually collaborate. And we've taken this a little bit of a step further. This is the last thing which I'm going to show you before I jump into some examples. But you can create spaces on Wakelet about anything that you want, okay? So to create a space, you click on this little plus button here, and you call this space English class. Or you call it Project A, or whatever it might be. You give it a an icon, you click create, and now I can start creating collections in this space. But here's the really cool part. When I click on members, I can click invite members and I can share this link with students or colleagues. They will all join into the space and they can all collaborate together in the same place, creating their own collections, adding their own links, contributing to collections. It becomes this amazing living, breathing learning environment, which is sealed off from everything else. It's safe, it's secure, it's easy to use, and it really makes a difference when it comes to just in one place. We launched Spaces just a few weeks back. I think it was 2 weeks back actually, and it's been incredible ever since. The feedback that we've got from it has been amazing. Okay, so now for the fun part. That's how you use Wakelet, right? Really, really easy. We have, as you can see in the home area, a little button here, which is the help button. If you click this, you chat with a real life person about Wakelet, how to use it 24/7, right? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can ask any questions that you want and the Wakelet team will respond within a matter of seconds or minutes, right? That's it. So if you're ever stuck or you want to know, where do I do this? Where do I collaborate? Just write as a message using this. We'll be back to you within 5 minutes at the absolute max. Okay, so moving on. How are educators using Wakelet? So I've got a few examples which I'm going to whiz through really quickly here because I know that you're probably waiting for your coffee break and you want me to hurry up. So this is the really cool part. This is a really fun part. I'm going to show you some of the amazing things that educators just like you have put together on Wakelet, and it's helping really transform engagement. It's helping transform digital literacy. It's helping transform so many different things. So this is Brandy Reams's profile. Now, when you create a Wakelet account, it gives you a profile. And whenever you make a collection public, it will appear on your profile. Once it's in your profile, you can organize it in some incredible ways. You can add as many different categories as you want, then move your collections across between them to make it much easier for people visiting your profile to actually view that. So this is Brandy Reams's profile. At the beginning of the school year, Brandy says to her students and the parents of the students, if you want to find out anything that's going on in class, wakelet.com/@BrandyReams. And everybody goes to there and discovers exactly what's happening in the classroom. So here's a Meet the Teacher collection, a school supply list where teachers and where parents can donate things to the class, a supply list, getting ready for kindergarten, here's some e-learning resources, weekly newsletters, small groups, asynchronous, resources, all here, all in one place. Amazing profile. I absolutely love this. If you want to check it out, go to wakelet.com/@BrandyReams. Now, the second one is really just sharing resources like we said at the beginning, okay? So Paul West is a tech coach. He puts all of his resources about particular subjects into Wakelet collections and just shares them with teachers. It's like turning 100 links into one links, right? And it's way, way more engaging as well. Then you've got sharing resources with your students in a really engaging way. So what the alternative to this collection would literally just be like a Google Sheet or a spreadsheet just with a list of links on it. But here, Liliana has created a collection that has infographics, it's got text, she's been able to add things to it to make it look way engaging, and all of a sudden, I want to learn about graphs and charts. Like, it makes it look so much more beautiful, so much more engaging, and most importantly, there's so much mixed media, mixed content going on here. I can watch a video, I can check out an article, whatever it might be. So sharing resources, presenting them in this way, really, really cool to do that with Wakelet. So next up is newsletters, right? Now this is kind of touches on the organization and the presentation side of things. So this is a newsletter put together by Brandy Reams. At the end of the week, she gets all of the highlights of the things that have happened in her class, all of the different resources which she's collected, which she knows is going to help her class and the learning community, and puts them all into one collection that she shares with the school community. So this here is a newsletter on Wakelet, right? Look, she opens up with an amazing Flipgrid video,
Good morning, class,
a quick update on how the week has been, the goals of the week, the things which the kids learn, and then kind of supports it with some amazing resources that she's handpicked. Now, parents love this because they're not leaving their kids alone on YouTube, right? They're leaving their kids alone on Wakelet. And the great part is, when I play a video here and I click autoplay next video, it's the video that Brandy has chosen that will play next, not the video that the YouTube algorithm has chosen. So parents absolutely love this. Amazing way to share resources. And of course, I know that you educators love GIFs. You can add GIFs as a background image and a cover image as well on Wakelet, just to make it a little bit more exciting. Meet the teachers, probably, I would say, right, to all of you out there watching this, if you wanted to do like your first thing on Wakelet, this is an amazing thing to do. Meet the teacher collections are taking Wakelet by storm, because it's a great way to actually show your students who you are, right? So you create a collection that brings you kind of closer to your students and allows them to relate to you and you to relate to them as well. So this collection here is created, and it's a quick profile on the teacher, pictures of her family, her favorite food, things that she enjoys doing, her hobbies. All of a sudden, the teacher about Wakelet, our catchphrase, our motto is "the humans are coming," right? It's all about making things more human and more contextual. So a student watching this, all of a sudden, Miss Giska becomes that more human. And the great part is you can then turn it on the students and say, hey, I want you to create a Meet the Student, right? So Honora here has created an amazing collection, which is a Meet the Student collection. She's got pictures of her recording, pictures of her performing, and all of a sudden, like I said before, Honora just comes from that one person who sat next to you that you've never met or spoken to this living, breathing person who's got things that she enjoys, places that she wants to go. This is awesome. This is what I really, really like, Aaron, right? Whether you're like an athlete or a musician or whatever your hobby might be, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have like recordings of that now. So rather than just saying to your class, oh, I sing or I perform, you just include a YouTube video in here, you know what I mean? Or record a video of you playing guitar or scoring the game in the basket or something like that. So it brings things to life, let's put it that way. So you can flip it and ask the students to create a collection, which is Meet the Student. Another really cool thing that did amazingly, we shared this on Twitter and everyone praised about it, was once the students have created these Meet the Student collections and kind of send them to you, click the share button, click this QR code, print off the QR codes, randomize them, and put them on everybody's seat. When the kids get in, the first thing they're going to do is scan that QR code and get taken to about the student collection, and then figure out, hey, who is this, and then actually read out. All of a sudden, you've got everybody understanding who that person is, being able to relate to them on things unlike ever before. So that's a really cool activity. 3 more, I'm going to go through them really, really quickly. Collaboration on Wakelet, really easy to do. I showed you how to do it. Get your students to create things and submit them to a Wakelet collection. This was an English reading and writing workshop. It was on Excalibur, so the King Arthur stories. The teacher asked the students to use any platform of their choice to create comic book strips, right, about this particular scene or this particular story. The students did that. Look at all these amazing, look at the diversity going on here. Some of them have been hand-drawn, some have just been picked. It's incredible. These are all comic strips which have been submitted by the students all in one place. Really great way of getting your students engaged, and then also having other students share those other pieces of content which their co-students have put together. Love this one here. This is really fun. You want to do something fun on Wakelet. Every time it is a student's birthday, have every other student in class submit a comment or a link or a piece of content about a memory they have with them or messages into a Wakelet collection. The results are literally amazing. They'll put selfies of themselves with the person. They'll have all of these messages. It's so much more impactful than just having like a card with a note in it. It's an amazing activity which might sound a little bit rudimentary, but actually allows it allows to communicate, allows them to express themselves, allows them to think critically. So many different things that this particular task activates. And then lastly, there are more sophisticated assignments that your students can do on Wakelet, right? So you can literally give them an assignment and say, do it on Wakelet. The benefit of doing an assignment on Wakelet, I can use any type of content that I want to back it up. I have a visual, engaging bibliography of, references that I can add to it. And it's like a word processor. I can add as much text or as little text as I want. This is an amazing exercise put together by one educator who the students were going on a trip to Disneyland, and this educator gave them like 6 different elements that they had to be mindful of in Disneyland. looking at it from like a tourist perspective. So where's the best place to take a selfie? Why is the architecture designed this way? Record a noise like ambience, record ambience and play it and explain how this makes you feel. Talk about the themes which are explored. You can go crazy with it. So that's it. I don't want to go on too much because there is so much more to share about it. But hopefully, in learning this, you'll be able to join us on Twitter, join our other webinars, that type of thing. But that's it. That's Wakelet in what, like 30 minutes, 40 minutes?
Yeah, no, but it was incredible because I think it's, as I was taking notes here and checking out some stuff, I think, if for the big takeaways for an educator considering this tool as we try to figure out all the things, and we know, just as you mentioned at the beginning, there's lots of suggestions coming at teachers of tools to use and things to try and this template and this and that and the other. And I think as we think about some of our previous learning that we've had in this PD of the message of really keeping it down to just like your core tools in your toolbox as a teacher. And one of the ways that I'm so glad you came on and shared Wakelet is because Wakelet is one of those tools that can also meet a lot of the needs in the classroom. So as we talk about the engagement, we talk about the curation of resources, we talk about the idea of expression and learning, but then also trying to build relations. And these are all things that teachers are trying to figure out when we can't see kids every day face to face. And so the idea of the birthday, as we're trying to build out connections and lessons with kids that we may not always see, they may not always come on the calls, they may not always turn their cameras on. We've got to find ways to build some relationships. We got to find some ways to create some engagement. We have to find some ways to also help streamline the process. And this is a tool that can do a lot of those things. But as we have different needs, we're also not having to teach a new tool each and every time. We're using the same tool, but we're using it in different ways. And so you're able to spend more time on your goal, whether that's content or standards or relations or engagement, and less time on here's how to use a tool. And I think that's what's really, critical for exploring a tool like Wakelet, because it does all those things. And I think what we're going to do here for the thing is, I was writing it down, like the challenge is just that for those getting started is you've seen the bells and whistles, and obviously you explore on your own, but to do the meet the teacher, yes, you may already be in school, but that content. So we're not asking you to repurpose content or recreate content. You have it, and get a feel for what that looks like. And then thinking about, how do we do this with students? How do we use this with other applications? So, I love that suggestion and idea, and it'll be within the PD. And so, just so many great things. And while
It's like Wakelet's like a Swiss Army knife, exactly like you said, Aaron. It engages a lot of different learning outcomes through the one tool. It's a very non-specific tool, right? At the most basic, it's a place for you to just collect and organize the links that you personally have received. So I don't use Wakelet for everything which I've shown you, and I don't expect the teachers who you're speaking to use Wakelet for every single example that I've shown you. Pick one, whether it be a newsletter, whether it be a Meet the Teacher, whatever it might be. And like you said, stick with that. For me, I use Wakelet for workouts, and I use it for travel planning. And everybody has a different reason to use it. So, a lot of students are using it as a digital portfolio to just capture all of the awesome stuff that they've done in their school year. And then it goes from, a collection of awesome things that they've done. By the time they get into the second year, third year, then it becomes a collection, which is like year one, year two, year three. So, some amazing things that you can do with it. Please do not be overwhelmed with the amount of ideas that come with it. In any way. It may be complex and sophisticated ideas. They do not relate to how easy the platform is to use. These ideas have come from a really simple notion, which I showed you at the beginning, copy and pasting links. So it's good to keep that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you hit on a key point too, is that as we're thinking about the use of tools, this also might be a tool that maybe you're not actually going to use with students right away. Maybe it's more for your back end of your productivity, your organization, and when the time presents itself. So I think, don't feel the pressure that you got to learn a tool because you attended this and all of a sudden now you think you have to use it with kids tomorrow. Like, I use it a lot for just even for me, like curating of resources for research that I do. And then I know where I need to go when I need it. And, I just think there's, as you said, it's a non-specific tool, but I wrote down it's a non-specific tool to do very specific things once you
Right.
understand it. And, and I guess we can leave it as the beauty of this is the Wakelet community itself is super high energy. It's super engaging. I mean, it's up there on energy levels, just I would say right up there with like the Flipgrid communities. I mean, people share so many wonderful things. There's people are so willing to help out. The chat within Wakelet from the Wakelet team, but just even other educators. And so we know that from the educator world, like teacher to teacher insights and ideas are way more powerful than any other voice that's out there when it comes to teaching. And so there is a very strong community that will help anybody at any given time, and it's really incredible. So I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day. I know you're a busy man. I know there's lots of things happening with Wakelet, and we really appreciate you taking time to share some of those features, share some of those examples, and just to plant the seed of the possibilities as we're all trying to figure out how to just be a little bit better. And I think Wakelet is a tool that definitely will help people, whether using it directly in the classroom or behind the scenes of the classroom, streamline the process and be a little bit more effective.
Yeah, no, it's been an absolute pleasure, Aaron. Thank you so much. And to everybody out there watching, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch with me. It's just nisbet@wakelet.com. Hit us up on Twitter. We're super accessible. Like Aaron said, we've got so much energy that comes from the educator community, so we want to give it back. So yeah, we hope that we hope you enjoy the tool. Give it a try, and like you said, Aaron, it doesn't have to be used with your students. See how you use it, see what you use it for, and then just take it from there.
I love it. Well, thank you so much.
Awesome.